downward pull of the head, this is where it gets tricky. There's nothing wrong with doing this. If you do this for a period of time, it settles into the organism. It's what your brain expects, and the brain obeys you. So you can look down from high up. If you put your hand on her, she would probably pop up immediately. If you put your hand on the other woman, she might not pop up as immediately because there's more structural dissimilarity in the muscle structure. So, when you looked at the young woman, the descriptions were, again, accurate from an Alexander point of view, everything about it. All of the little nuances both of you came up with. But it took some real thinking, and it happened with you especially, and I changed your pattern of use. When you change the teacher's pattern of use, if the teacher changes their own pattern of use, because they're not certain of the definition that they have of the person they're working with, and are willing to give that person a little bit more chance to show up in a different way, works on themselves to change that perception. So in the early phases of teaching and in the later in years of teaching, it's important to be able to do that. And it happens at a moment's notice. You want to say something? Yeah.
One of the things that was really interesting to observe was I would be interested to see how this experience would have been different for them looking at pictures of males.
Of what?
Of males instead of females.
There would be a difference.
It would be a difference.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the responses, the initial responses that I heard felt very different to me from the response that Ari and I didn't hear Leo's whole response, but I would imagine different from Leo's response.
We're going to listen to that.
And the other thing is because, I mean, Roger's been at it a little bit longer than Christian, but also because Leo and Ari and I have been here longer, I think that also impacted the response.
Of course.
But I'm wondering how much more impacted it was by gender than by time. And it's just interesting to me to observe that.
Are there themes that you, like, that's very interesting.
It is very interesting.
What kind of theme do you notice that you think is especially different? We came at it from a more...
You came in it from a more technical place than we did. We went, I don't know if Leo did because I didn't get to hear hers, but immediately Ari and I went to personal narrative.
Yeah.
Whose personal narrative?
Both of their personal narrative
Okay.
of like how we
Not
felt.
Not yours, but theirs. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So as opposed to, and so we were observing the use, but it was definitely the observation was more immediately. Hi.
Speaking of,
We're giving them the same thing we did before. And she's talking about something quite interesting that I hadn't even thought about, but I'm thinking about it now, and I'm coming up with observations about these are two men. You've recognized that. These are two men that are observing it, and I had done it with two women, and then a third woman.
Mm-hmm.
And the women did go to the personal narrative a little bit more quickly to the use.
Mm.
And is this a gender thing? We can talk about that in a moment, but
That's all I have to say about it.
well, it's an interesting perception. Yes, sir.
one other observation about these, they both look somewhat like paintings too, so anyway.
They might be, I don't know.
They could be, but whatever they are, they were taken by an artist, made by an artist, who was trying to express something.
Yeah, probably personal narrative.
Yeah, and to me, one of the little girl comes across as a sort of idealized view of childhood, and the one of the woman on the right comes across. It uses dark colors in the background, dark colors of what she's wearing, and that affects the mood of the art in ways that influence the viewer. And so I think that what the artist intended was to show something more somber or darker.
Well, I think you're right.
You know?
I don't, everybody would have their own perception. I think that you don't know if it's a painting or a photo, I don't know.
You know,
And those photographs were given me by an Alexander teacher that trained with me who taught the Alexander technique at Wesley College. She sang at her own wedding. She was an opera singer. And
Where's the person?
she married her own student. And he died actually quite young. And but he anyway, so but her life was deeply personal narrative. One day she just said, "Tommy, I want you to just shut up. I have to yell and scream right now. I have to do this. I have to do it." And she just went
like
out berserk in the middle of the training course. She said, "I have to do it." And this is a woman speaking.
Why?
Oh, she looked around when there were other training courses in town, and it may still be, I don't know anymore. And but I would suggest that people go to all the courses. You're going to spend 3 years of your life with this particular person. Make sure you want to be with this particular person for 3 years of your life, and it might not be me.
Right.
And
A little late now.
so they all went. Everybody had gone to all the other courses. They all came here afterwards, but they had been to all of the other courses, just like Debbie. And we were walking, when we lived in Cambridge, we were walking back up to my house, I don't know why, but we were walking from the office up there. And I says, "I want you to seriously consider not training with me. Because you have a lot going in your life that's going to come up in this training course. Make certain you want to do it with me. Because you've heard me speak, you've been with me, etc. Make sure you want to do it with me, because I'm going to focus not just on use." And she chose to do that. This is the woman that gave me these things.
Oh, okay.
So you are looking at everything you just described, Roger. And if you saw an actual live person sitting here, the little girl was sitting here, you would see something more than what we're seeing now, obviously.
Yeah.
And that you would do the same thing. But the exercise is, how do you really train yourself to teach more than use? There's nothing wrong, I don't think, in just improving a person's use. They'll do what they will in your life. You're not responsible for their life. But you are responsible. I think we are responsible, you and I am responsible, I'll just say that, for how what I say and what I do affects another person.
Yeah.
I am responsible for that. And I want to be as accurate as I can be. And I can only be as accurate as I can be depending on how much I'm willing to study me. And the Alexander work gives you that possibility, but you have to move a little bit beyond it, I think. It's not just use. It can't possibly be you. So it's an interesting exercise. And the gender thing, yeah, I think women have been trained from the beginning of civilization, probably, whatever that was, to have a much more expansive view of what's going to work. When I say, because you've been downtrodden and everything, I don't want to go into that. A man has been subjected to having to be powerful and strong and thorough and work and when available at a given moment and thinking quickly and surviving a battle. There were Amazons that did the same thing. They used to lop off one breast so that they could fight better. I mean, that's crazy, but and it's male oriented. And but a woman would be kicked this way, 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 this way. Even the Bible is not about Lilith; it's about Adam and Eve. But there's another one that preceded that, and so you had to come up with solutions that actually function for more people than yourself. And you've had to come up with solutions that work for yourself because your solutions are not, yourself is not being accepted by the male-dominated society. I know all that. It's very true. So when you work with a woman as a man, you have to have some degree of agreement with that. You really do. And a woman, when she works with a man, has to have some degree of, okay, I can forgive this guy, you know, I can see that I'm working with a man now, and he thinks differently than I do. And some of what I do may in fact help him, and some of what I do is going to be too far away from what he'd be able to do at this point in his life. All that exists, and and I can't train that. You have to train yourself to do that. But yeah, I'm big on personal narrative because you're touching the life story of a person, and everything you say counts. And you'll screw up a little bit from time to time, and usually they tell you. Yeah.
So I'm reflecting on how I described what I was seeing in these pictures, and I'm wondering if what I said was, I think she lied, I think this, I think that. Probably a better word for me to use would be, I wonder if. And I'm just, is there a way
That's lovely.
to transform the words that I use to help me be more withholding of definition?
Could you say that again before she comments what you just said?
I want from the beginning.
The part right before she said that's lovely.
Yeah, I wonder if I could transform the words that I use. If I choose my words, the words I use to myself a little more carefully, maybe that will help me withhold definition better. I just it's a pattern of saying I think this. We've done some marriage things in my home, and one of the things we talk about is the difference between a thought and a feeling is a different thing, but we tend to say, well, I think X, Y, Z, and that it's not actually the same as what's happening in your heart, I think. And so I wonder if being more open, if changing the words I use would help me to be more open.
Mm-hmm.
You change yourself the moment I change your use. You change yourself the moment I change your use. You immediately, without even trying to think that way, redefined your previous definition. And it was much more, if you want to say from a woman's perspective, it was that. So a man can have a woman's perspective. I don't know if we'll ever get to the point where we can bring out a Kleenex box. But that's
Wow.
But I love that.
That's
Every time I see it
funny.
happen. Is that, you don't cry in baseball. My son cried in baseball. I told you the story, right? Yeah. You can cry in baseball.
It's a moment of inhibition, isn't it? When you can decide what you think, or have that thought and then be like, well, maybe, but there are other options, and then that leads to the, I wonder if this thought I had is the truth, or if any of the other many options are.
You see, go ahead.
The thing that I didn't say before that I should have said before is that your I was surprised and touched that when you looked at the pictures
second time.
before
Mm-hmm.
and then the second time, so the first time that you looked at it was the male perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The second time, the word that you used was tenderness.
Hmm.
When you hear our response, that was the same word that I used.
Oh.
So the moment that you changed your use, you
Mhm.
did automatically do that, as Tommy
Mhm.
said that you did, but just very specifically the same word.
So if I were working, if I were looking at these little two creatures, humanity, I would look at both. When I say, when you do activity work, which is an activity, you can focus on changing their use. What are you really touching when you touch somebody? First chapter in the book. I don't know, you know. That's what my feeling was. And then I said, well, I will find it. Once I look at somebody doing something, I will know what to say. Julian Lars, play your guitar. He plays instantaneously. I see a young man who's a prodigy, who's really good at what he does. Young man exploring who he is given what he's doing. Exploring who he is given what he's doing. Not exploring his use. You can explore use in conjunction with your exploration of who you are given what you're doing. Wish I'd never remember what I just said. I hope you have it recorded. That's a good thing to say.
Did you record that, Ari?
Yes.
But it's true. You know, it is true.
Nice, Tommy.
You send us a note in WhatsApp.
Sure.
Thanks.